Well, thanks for tuning in. I'm Barry Burnett, your host on Investing Insights with Barry Burnett on Talk Radio 790 KABC, part of the nationwide real estate radio network with more than 180 shows in 40 major markets. And this is the only one focused on entrepreneurial investors and their real estate portfolios. This is part 2 of every entrepreneurial investor's D-list of investing in real estate. If you missed the first part, you can catch it on podcast on KABC.com, or better yet, on YouTube by searching Barry Burnett Radio. Watching radio on TV, that's crazy, but who knew? This content is designed as a college-level curriculum, so I hope you'll grab your pen and take some notes. If you're driving, pull over first. So here they are. We're delving deeper into those Ds. Describe, design, discover, deliver, debate, direct, and divest. Last week we talked about describe your desires, your heart's ambition, your hopes, your real dreams. We also said design a path that will not destroy you, something that is totally within your wheelhouse. As Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true. You also want to discover, and in the process of discovery, you'll find out what doesn't work, what might work, what definitely will work, and then you'll find out what works best for you. So we want to be able to help you discover those things in such a fashion that you really win, and that you win through feeling absolutely comfortable with the process. You want to be sure that your spouse, your family, and your partners are in on the decisions that matter. And as you make your decisions, you want to deliver a solid choice to purchase and operate. Now, that was last week, and you're welcome to catch that on KABC.com or on YouTube, Barry Burnett Radio. So this week, we're talking about the delightful Ds of debate. Debate how to make this property your own. Discuss in your mind whether you are able to improve, alter, reshape, refinance, remanage, and then operate. Direct your property towards your objectives to fulfill your personal dreams, your own destiny, shaping your property constantly towards your desires. Divest your property according to your own plan. Do you have heirs? Do you have a trust? Are you ready for exchanges? Do you want to carry back paper? How do you want your plan to be fulfilled? So we're going to talk about these things and the reason that they are important to you. So where are we really? Well, debate. Debate whether you are ready emotionally to handle hands-on work or whether you are a good delegator. Do you have the talent for interior design? And in particular, are you a visionary? Can you design space? Are you ready to roll up your sleeves? According to the American Institute of Architecture, and they take surveys regularly, about every 10 years they publish a report that identifies that about 85% of all adults cannot visualize what a place is going to look like when they see it on the page. So that's why architects constantly use renderings. So do you see a value in making alterations? If you have the visions, the classic visions of people who can go in and make alterations on a property, well, that's the easiest thing that has really caught on, called fix and flip. The people do that in homes, but they also do it in office buildings and industrial. You can fix and flip something, but you have to be sure that you understand the actual cost going in. Did you run the numbers? Did you calculate what happens if there's a delay? What happens if you get into it and your timeline goes askew? Have you got a calculation for the real return? Turns out that a lot of people do some of these fix and flips and they find out they've worked for 8 cents a minute, or 8 cents an hour, or 8 cents for the entire project. Or maybe they lost a whole lot of money because when they get into it, they haven't calculated their margin correctly. They get emotionally too involved. I also have a client that years and years ago, back in the roller coaster of the 90s, bought a piece of property, the worst house in the nicest neighborhood, and she was so emotionally tied up, and she wanted to do it nicer and nicer and nicer, and she turned out a really Gucci quality, a Dolce & Gabbana house. and she was way over budget, and she took 11 months, and she tried to explain to her husband why she was $250,000 over budget. She ended up keeping the property and carrying it all the way through a 7-year down cycle, up cycle, and by the time it was all done, she'd refinanced the property, bought another one that was a turnkey, something that had already been handled, and they made out fine. But it wasn't what she planned. It wasn't what she wanted. So be sure that you're in your own wheelhouse. So if you've just tuned in, this is Barry Burnett, your host of Investing Insights with Barry Burnett, and we want you to sign up on barryburnett.net for questions, answers, introduction to top professionals in the law, in trusts, in tax, CPAs, and true, excellent top lenders, top professionals, top vendors. But in the process, you will be entered to win dinner for two at fabulous Malbec Argentine restaurant in chic Toluca Lake. So please sign up at barryburnett.net. I had a situation myself where I'd had a motorcycle accident. I lost my right leg, and I was still in recovery. And between cleanup surgeries and all of that neat stuff, I found this fantastic property that was going to be an ideal fix and flip. Well, mostly I was going to take a small house and make it into a mansionized property. And the market was going up, and I was in it. I bought it for $700,000. And I saw a possibility of turning around a product at $1,750,000. And it would have been a very easy project for me, right in my wheelhouse. But my wife looked at me one day and she said, "Are you crazy? What are you thinking? You've just lost your leg, you're having surgeries, and you're going to build a mansion house? What are you thinking?" And I said, "Well, okay, Angela, what do you want me to do?" She says, "Well, sell it." Oh, geez. It's going to be so much fun. No, it's not going to be enough fun. So I flipped a little ad on Craigslist. I bought it at $700,000, sold it within a week with 9 offers, sold it for $790,000, all cash. The people bought it from me, closed escrow in 10 days, and I walked away with a net probably $83,000 from having bought it and not even I didn't even open a can of paint. And my wife just smiled and she said, "Okay, good work. Watch what happens." Oh boy, they bought wrong. And it wasn't my fault. They weren't my clients. I didn't advise them. They had their own real estate license. They bought wrong, and they would have made the nightmare segments of the real estate TV shows. The reality show would have said in 2.5 years they were upside down. I could have bought the property back at auction for $470,000 because that's what it ultimately sold for. I sold it to them for $790,000, and the auction went out at $470,000. The marketplace had changed, and I could have lost my own shirt in the process of trying to recover from having lost my leg. So my wife was absolutely right. I listened. I didn't go outside of my emotional stability. And be sure that you keep your partners in check. This is Barry Burnett. Be right back.